Production support for the weekly special is provided by IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement. The Al Cobain Recognition Endowment Fund, established by friends and family of Al Cobain to support jazz initiatives on WTIU and WFIU. And WTIU members, thank you.
Throughout Indiana, Hoosiers are finding inspiration in their surroundings.
Travel with us tonight as we explore how change can begin in your very own backyard. Discover an Anderson, Indiana farm that is giving adults a new lease on life. Meet an extraordinary artist who transforms unexpected mediums into incredible scenes. Cheer for America's favorite pastime as Evansville's Bosse Field celebrates 100 years. And welcome the sounds of the Shelby County Sinners into the studio for the first time. From farming to fiber art, learn how the land continues to transform lives.
It's all coming up on this episode of The Weekly Special.
Hello and welcome to the weekly special. I'm Erica Sagone.
And I'm Daryl Neer. Erica, this is the time of year I really love because we can go walking through the neighborhood and see all of these wonderful gardens that I personally can never grow.
Oh yeah, I'm a total garden gawker, especially since I do not have a green thumb at all. What about you? Green thumb?
Not even close. But we are keeping a plant alive for the last 3 months. That's a start.
Hey, congratulations.
Thanks.
Well, they say that there is something particularly healing about watching a garden come alive. For Aspire Heartland Farm, that idea is not just changing the land, it's changing their lives. Harvestland Farm is a farm on a mission to grow organic produce, to grow year-round using greenhouses, and to help people get on their feet and back into the workforce.
There's really no other farm that's comparable to us with our mission and what we have going on.
The farm employs people who have some barrier, either a mental or physical disability, that might make it tough for them to hold a typical job.
Just being able to bring people in who are having a hard time keeping a job or getting a job and really helping them, show them that they can do something on this farm. Anyone can do anything on the farm, and someone might do better at seeding, or someone may do better at weeding, or someone might do better at harvesting a certain crop. And it's really cool to see everyone find what it is they're good at and really excel in that.
Harvestland is owned by Aspire Indiana, a nonprofit center for mental health. The farm is in Anderson, about 45 minutes northeast of downtown Indianapolis. With its greenhouses and organic growing practices, Harvestland has become a real force in the central Indiana food scene.
Because we have these greenhouses, we're usually the first to have the zucchini, cucumbers, tomatoes at markets and for restaurants. I don't know that there's anyone that has this many greenhouses.
Those greenhouses weren't always part of the farm. Harvestland started in 2008 on a much different scale.
We actually rented some space at one of the local parks, and we just started a small little garden, and with the mission of getting people back to work.
That little garden is now a true farm, with its own farm store and weekly CSA shares. It sells produce at summer and winter farmers markets and supplies to many of Indianapolis's best-known restaurants.
We had the opportunity to purchase this land, and we have 17 acres here. We've been able to add a greenhouse or two every year. So we currently have 9 greenhouses now and an acre out front that we farm, and then we do rent some land next door also.
Greenhouses allow Harvestland to be a year-round operation. Even when the weather warms up, the greenhouses are full.
Anything that loves heat, we can grow in the greenhouse in the summer. I mean, it's probably 100 degrees in here right now at least, and zucchini, cucumbers, tomatoes, they just heat, they need it, they love it, they'll thrive in the heat. So if you can get them in a greenhouse and keep them watered, they'll do well. In the winter we do lots of greens, lots of lettuce, arugula, spicy mix, mustards, some radishes. We do a lot of celery, which is a big seller in the winters. I don't know that anyone else has celery, so that's pretty cool.
In addition to the farm, Aspire runs a vending company and a cleaning company, which also employ mentally disabled workers. The programs are a tool to help people build the confidence and skills they need to re-enter the workforce.
That gives them a sense of identity, a sense of accomplishment, something to get up for, to wake up for and come to work and accomplish something. A lot of times individuals that have a disability, it comes with a stigma, and maybe people have given up on them. They've not been able to keep a job. So we understand that. It's real work. We don't expect them to do anything less, but we also have an understanding that maybe doing things the traditional way doesn't work. We have to understand a little more about our people. And the farm specifically is a great avenue or a venue to do that, working with your hands, getting dirty. There's something therapeutic about that.
If you'd like more information on how to purchase Aspire Heartland products in your area, or for information on their services, visit their Facebook page. Daryl, I always enjoy hearing the story behind farms, and this one had a great mission and it has incredible tasty produce. I can't think of anything better.
I know, to hear the stories about how it's impacting lives is really great.
Yeah.
Well, from changing the landscape through inspiration to inspiring by creating landscapes, our next artist is getting international attention for her incredible fiber art.
Creating is so much like science and like research because for a while you're the only person who knows what you've made. There's this specialness of making and knowing and seeing and having that you have by yourself for a little while, and then you sort of like throw it out there and share it with everybody, and that's what I get to do with my art now.
Martina Sellerin's unique perspective is the product of a unique path. She was born in the Czech Republic, moved to Canada with her family to flee the Soviets, and came to IU pursuing postdoc opportunities in molecular biology. Eventually, she met her husband and started a family.
And I continued doing the science, but there was something still missing in my life. And so I remember perfectly when I was sitting on the floor drawing, coloring with crayons with boy number 1 and nursing boy number 2. And I said, I really want to get back to my roots as an artist. And my husband had just gotten tenure at IU, and so we had some stability. And he said, let's do it. Let's try it for a year. And I was like, okay, let's try it.
That was 12 years ago. There were questions early on about the perfect medium. Clay was considered, as was pen and ink. But Martina eventually settled on a unique form of fiber art.
I am not a purist. I use fiber art so that it works for me. And so I use a lot of different techniques in my work. The background, the base, is usually woven. And I will do a tabby weave, which is the in, out, and then out, in, out, in. I will add sumac weave structure that creates loops in the background. I will crochet off of those to build the dimension. I will also use needle felting to flatten that or to create structures that are independent of the actual background piece. I will use embroidery if I want to stitch something else on. Any fiber technique that seems like the right technique for doing it, that's what I'll use. The subject matter of my pieces tends to be nature. I think that's what I respond to. None of the scenes that I create can you go to on a map. They are just fusions of different places that I've been, different experiences I've had. It's a sort of a perfect world that I create. My work incorporates a lot of found objects. What goes into a piece really depends on what the piece needs. I sort of look at the piece, and sometimes there's a texture on a found object that I just don't feel like I can recreate. And so having like a small pebble or a small rock standing in for a big rock or a boulder is exactly what I feel like the piece needs. One of the things that is important to me in my work is that there is a lot of detail, there is a lot of information, and that really encourages the viewer to do that close-up, far-away inspection of my work. One of the things that I just love using are feathers. My husband and my son love to fish, and so we go to bait shops. I call it my art supply store. And so I pick up a lot of feathers that are usually used for tying fishing lures. Those are often green, and I will incorporate those into the weavings as well. And people go, "Oh my gosh, is that a feather?" Well, yes, it is. Each of my pieces has a whole story behind it. And I really wish in some ways that I could sit and explain to every person that is engaged by a piece what the backstory is, because my pieces take a long time to create, and so I spend a lot of time thinking about the piece, and I often spend a lot of time even before I start thinking through the piece and what I want it to look like. In so many cases, there is a special object that's on the piece or some material that's on there that I would love to, and this is this. Oh my gosh, there's inside this tree, there's this shoelace, and it came from my son, and it was when he was outgrow these, and I washed them, and so each piece has truly a story in it. So many of the stories people will never hear, but I carry them around in my heart. I guess I never see barriers. One of the pieces of advice that my friend Dawn Adams gave me, and she's a painter, she said, just make your best work and put it out there. And if it's good work, it'll sell. That's what I do. I just go into my own heart and I create what I want to create, and I just put it out there. And it's a stage of life that I'm in right now. I'm in a really beautiful stage of life, and I think my art just comes pouring out with that happiness.
You can view more examples of Martina's unique art or learn how you can see some of her creations at a gallery near you by visiting her website, martinacelleran.com. You know, Erica, I'm really impressed by all of the elements that are integrated into these pieces that provide depth and texture and tell a story.
Yeah.
It's really
Her
impressive.
work is just like so intriguing. You just kind of want to reach out and touch it. All the textures are really incredible. Well, this has been one of Indiana's most treasured summer destinations, and this year, Evansville's Bosse Field is celebrating its 100th anniversary of bringing America's favorite pastime to the Hoosier Heartland.
It's opening day for baseball, and excitement drifts through the air like the smell of hot dogs and hamburgers sizzling on a grill. Droves of people moving through the turnstiles are anxious to get inside the hallowed ground of America's favorite pastime. The crack of the bat proclaims summer has arrived in southern Indiana, where ball teams boast nostalgic parks. Old-time baseball parks are a rarity as they make way to corporate suites, jumbotron scoreboards, and large concourses. But not in Evansville. Only 2 professional baseball parks are older, Wrigley Field in Chicago and Fenway Park in Boston. It's part of the charm that draws people to the games.
There is a passion for baseball. Every night you treat like opening night. It's always someone's first time coming to Bosse Field, and so you just want them to have the best time possible. I like to say that we're creating memories 9 innings at a time, and that's what it's all about, is just making sure that someone not only has an enjoyable time, but will want to come back again.
The Evansville Otters play in the Frontier League, a league that started in 1993 with 8 teams, now has grown to 12. Drawing almost 1.5 million fans across the Midwest.
I just like baseball, and they do good here, and they have a nice ballpark.
I tell everyone, it's just like going to one of the movies. You know, you have a good time from the time you get here to the time you leave.
After the game, the kids can run the bases, they can meet the players will sign autographs. It's just a really family-friendly atmosphere as well. You don't really have to worry about language or what your children will be seeing, and you won't spend all of your money on food and tickets.
The same can be said in Huntingburg, about 7 miles south of Jasper, where the Du Bois County Bombers play. They are a part of the brand new 11-team Prospect League. They hope to be the elite Wooden Bat Summer Baseball League in the nation.
They basically come out here to prove to pro scouts, to people at the next level, that they can hit with a wood bat or they can pitch with a wood bat. So when they get here in the summer, that's pretty well their goal to prove that.
Jace says minor league teams such as the Bombers do feel a ripple effect of the ailing economy.
We feel like the economy has actually helped us to an extent because there's less people traveling to the markets around here, the Cincinnati Reds, the St. Louis Cardinals, on trips like that to see baseball. And more people really staying at home in the area to see local baseball and also enjoy the kind of unique setup and kind of nostalgic atmosphere that we have here.
The Bombers play at League Stadium, another historic ballpark. Stepping inside here feels like taking a leap back in time. A perfect setting for a movie.
Penny Marshall and Bill Groom showed up one day, and I knew they were coming. I couldn't tell anybody. We met them up here. Penny Marshall just had a ball cap on and pretty casually dressed, and she looked all over the place and walking around. And then they let us know about a week later they wanted to look at this area as a site.
The original ball field and grandstand were renovated and expanded in 1991 by Columbia Pictures for the filming of the movie A League of Their Own.
That sounded good.
Movie stars, they're just like us. Tom Hanks was just, we played catch at night. He was just, you know, he'd come talk to him. He didn't put on any airs. He's just a normal guy that happens to be a big movie star. We have tourists every day during the summertime come in, just want to see the signs, but get your picture taken.
They also shot on location in Evansville at Bosse Field, where parts of the movie set paintings are still there. But it's the intimacy of the game that keeps fans in the seats. The players don't take that for granted either.
We're running around working hard, so I mean that's why. Yeah, it's as redundant as it gets, you know, over and over and over again. My dad's in the office building right now. You know, there's nothing better than what I get to do every day.
Sean Thompson is in his first year pitching for the Otters. He was drafted in the 5th round by the San Diego Padres in 2002 and spent some time with the Royals and Rockies before signing to play in Evansville.
I love to win, and I just like being around the field and being around the game. There's just too many guys and too many things. I've made so many lifelong friends just being here, you know, and I met these guys 2 weeks ago. You know, it's just, that's how easy it can be on a baseball field. To see kids that excited about the game, it keeps us coming to the game. It helps me wake up every morning. That's why I like Sundays, because those are day games, those are kids' days. They come out there screaming, they're having fun.
Don't miss this special year for the historic ballpark. Find a calendar of hometown games, directions, and ticket information at evansvilleotters.com.
You know, Erica, for any baseball fan, they owe it to themselves to make a trip out to both of those ballparks because it represents just great old-time baseball.
Yeah, it really is the perfect summer activity.
Yeah. Our next musical guests seem to embody that summer spirit. Meet the Shelby County Sinners.
The origin of the name came from the fact that we feel like rock and roll started in Memphis. So Memphis is Shelby County. Blues was the devil's music, so they said. So called ourselves Shelby County Sinners. The blues and then everything kind of splintered off from that. You know, I mean, yeah, there's country involved and stuff like that, or folk and other areas, but you know, what we play seems to stem from the blues. It seemed appropriate to call ourselves that. Looking back to, I mean, you know, giving a proper credit to where it came from. I bang on the guitar a lot. You know, that's just my style. I've always played kind of percussively when I play acoustic. And Mo, of course, is slapping the bass. So there's that. You know, between my guitar and his bass, it creates this drum sound. And, you know, a lot of people have said we don't miss the drums. You know, it's because we have that going on. Obviously, we don't have a drummer, but we didn't really want a drummer because Mo plays percussively, I play percussively, and you know, it lets it shine more. It lets the low end come out. The sound really caters to who we are and what we do. It just kind of blends together really well, I think. You know. Eric is more like he's the colorer. You know, he kind of gives the song the tone that we're going after. But Mo and I really lay down the beat. You know, that's real. You know, it's not a lot of effects. It's not bombastic. It's not all this stuff. It's just three guys up there doing what they do. You know, coming across straight. You know, of course, there's aggressive styles of music, but I just think, you know, when you're playing something that's moving and you're getting the people moving, might as well say something that matters. There's a lot of love songs, but You know, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of stuff that's topical. You know, there doesn't seem to be a lot of bands that are really kind of saying what needs to be said. You know, what I write is just kind of whatever I see around me, kind of journalism in a way, I guess. You know, I went through a period where I wrote, you know, hard on my sleeve songs, and they didn't go over so well. So now I kind of write what I see, and I think everybody sees it. You know, it's on the news every day, it's in the newspapers, it's everywhere. So we just kind of look at it in a different angle and kind of put it back out there. And I think what we do, I think it provides a good vehicle for that. The perfect Shelby County Sinners show, I think would be where people get it and get into it and come away from it entertained. I mean, we've been slowly, you know, growing, and it's been a real kind of grassroots effort. It's evolved real naturally. So we played a lot of shows, and people wanted to hear more from us. So we just went in and played it live, recorded it live, and you know, and wanted to spread it. And that's what we always hope whenever we play out, is that people dig it enough to tell other people. And it seems to have happened. I guess we're doing our job.
And now, the Shelby County Sinners.
Well, the rich will take the money and the poor will fight it out. They'll divide up all the ashes once it's all burned to the ground. They'll dance and sing like lunatics on the graves of those who paid the price it costs to believe in a dream that's gone away. They sold it to the enemy for an offer we couldn't refuse. It's a knockdown, drag out, 21st century bailout blues. Buy up all the babies, getting cheaper by the pound. Dress them in designer rags when the circus comes to town. The magicians who fooled you with all their smoke and mirrors are filling up their pockets while playing to your fears. Well, it's hard to let a deal go by when it's something you can't use. It's a knockdown, drag out, 21st century bailout blues. Well, it's brave to be the one to fix. There's still time for a change till you realize that all your dreams are too far out of range. And in your darkest hour, when all your fears come true, you'll find you spent your whole life caring for those who didn't care for you. It's a fight to the finish, and someone's gonna lose. It's a knockdown, drag out, 21st century bailout blues.
You can get the latest information on upcoming concerts by visiting their Facebook page, the Shelby County Sinners. And they've agreed to do some great bonus songs for us today, so be sure to check those out at our website right after the show.
Love those guys. They're great.
They really were.
Well, today's show has really given us a lot of inspiration for getting outside.
Really, go out and spend some time in the garden, go and visit an art show or gallery. You can go catch a baseball game and, of course, see some live music in the park, too.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time that we've got for tonight. One more time before we go, Shelby County Sinners. Good night.
Well, it's hard to concentrate on the road with a gun pointed at your head. It's been a long night of driving and I'm so damn tired, but I don't want to end up dead. Man, it's funny how things could be going so good, but can change in the blink of an eye. 300 miles to go, hope to God I can stay alive. You see, Johnny told me about a deal going down. He said there was some money to make. All I had to do was keep the wheels on the road and I could get in on the tape. Yeah, and all was going well when the deal went down. But Johnny shot a man dead. And now I'm hauling ass all night at 100 miles an hour with the gun pointed at my head. Johnny's sitting in the passenger seat. Man, he's coked to the gills and he's jacked up on pills and he's got it in for me. Yeah, he's shaking and scared and he's out of his mind, but I'm trying to be as cool as can be. He's only kept me alive after all of these miles, cause the only one who drives is me.
Production support for the weekly special is provided by IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement. The Al Cobain Recognition Endowment Fund, established by friends and family of Al Cobain to support jazz initiatives on WTIU and WFIU. And WTIU members, thank you.